It's difficult to know why an individual will have a particular symptom, for example, paralysis rather than dizziness, or speaking in a whisper. Back in the early 1900s, some psychiatrists believed that an individual's symptoms carried a symbolic significance. For example, someone who witnessed an appalling event might develop blindness. Although this sort of belief is still occasionally mentioned in psychiatry textbooks, not many people believe it. In Roland's case, his symptoms began with a cough and a sore throat, but his persistent focus on his breathing developed into a preoccupation. His cousin had told him that he must have been cursed, an idea that Roland felt was being fulfilled in the shape of serious illness. This worry served only to perpetuate his symptoms, until coughing and exhaling noisily through his nose was as natural to him as breathing. Such presentations are often known as conversion disorders, referring to the theory that psychological stresses are converted into physical symptoms, although it should be acknowledged that there is little consensus on what to call them. Our disorganized classification system is a reflection of the different ways in which people have understood these symptoms over the years. Some diagnoses, such as conversion disorder, stem from the theory of Freudian psychoanalysis, while other diagnoses, such as persistent physical symptoms, are descriptive, yet both might be talking about the same thing. The term functional disorder is commonly used to indicate that while the structures of the body, the nerves, muscles, and organs, are all intact, their function is impaired. Sometimes the terms used are pejorative or insulting. A heart sink patient, referring to the effect they have on a doctor's morale. A fat folder to describe the thickness of a patient's notes. And yet others, such as supratentorial, pointing to a region of the brain, while respectful and medical sounding, suggest that the cause lies in the brain and are a wink to fellow professionals that the doctor thinks it is all psychiatric. As I dictated my letter to Roland's GP, I picked up his file and 2 letters fell out. The first was from an ear, nose and throat, ENT specialist, who had diagnosed a problem with his vocal cords. The second was from a neurologist, who had diagnosed a disorder of the nervous system. I began to worry. Had I completely misread the situation? I wondered whether to even commit my diagnosis to the notes, my confidence in it steadily waning. I knew the ENT and neurology consultants to be sharp and capable doctors, and not the sort who were casual about diagnoses. My diagnosis seemed even less sound when Roland came back to see me some weeks later, smiling and relieved that his symptoms had all but gone. It turned out that, lacking any confidence in his trio of physicians, he had laid out all his cares to a sympathetic priest, who agreed with him that he must have been cursed, and administered holy water, thereby effecting this miraculous cure. I felt chastened. Roland had seen 4 healers, and each of us had reached a conclusion based on our understanding of the human body or mind. We had all seen what we wanted to see. The ENT specialist found a problem with the vocal cords, the neurologist found a problem with his nerves, the psychiatrist found a problem with his mind, and the priest with his soul. I found this unsettling. I had always believed the way I saw things was the way that they were. Medicine is narrow like that. We tend not to question our beliefs. In all medical textbooks, there is a formula for presenting an illness. It starts with epidemiology, how common the illness is, then the etiology, its cause, and presentation, how the illness looks to the doctor, through to the course, the natural history of the illness if it is left untreated, and prognosis, outcome. Treatments that alter the natural prognosis are discussed, and man triumphs over nature. I've taught medical students in teaching hospitals throughout my career. They believe that all symptoms are the product of a disease, which should be investigated and a cure offered. This process becomes second nature during their training, and therefore goes unchallenged. There is an implicit belief that anything else is not real medicine. When I try to teach them a different way of thinking, they at first look slightly skeptical and then unsettled. I explain to them that symptoms are part of life, and that, most of the time,